Hello and welcome to what I think is the final part of my video series about Trails to Daybreak Part 2. We are here in what I guess is the final dungeon, and this should be the stairs to the final opponent.
Let's go.
We can't, I need to talk about how we did get here. After the defeat of the Garden Master, we got a few weeks where we had to be vigilant, and then the army's school festival started. At the end of that first day of the festival, Van sneaked away because he got a text message from C to meet up at Trident Tower. Long story short, there we stumbled over this little scene.
Well, I wouldn't want to keep him waiting. Good thing I held off on giving this back to Agnes. All right, Mare Bear. Rise and shine. I can see her app running in the background, but I guess she can't actually manifest in this dimension. Might have to try something else.
I'm surprised you didn't stay until the end of the show.
They didn't really need me there. I was more or less a supervisor in name only. If anything, I should be the one who's surprised. Unlike me, you actually helped with the performance. Also, unlike me, you didn't just step out in the middle of the show. You weren't even there from the start.
I wasn't, no. I'm afraid that stage was just a little too full of life. For someone as hollow and empty as me. A person with no sense of self.
Well, like I told you before, that's exactly why no one else can play your roles like you do. Been a while. Nina Fenley. Actually, maybe I should be saying, nice to finally meet you. You aren't just a rising star in the movie biz with oodles of talent to spare. There's more to you than meets the eye.
Oh, dear. You're laying on the compliments quite thick. My face must be beet red right about now. Yes, I have another role apart from Nina the actress. I'm guessing you've already sussed out what it is.
Only got a rough idea, actually. At first, I had you pegged as the third C. The person who's been sending us all those ominous warning messages. I sifted through just about every possible candidate for that in my mind. Thought maybe the first or second C were cooking up a new plot. I even considered if Professor Epstein was our new C.
Because his first name is Claude, yes? That's a bit of a stretch, don't you think? Although, when you consider the immortals from the Empire and the true identity of the Garden Master, I suppose it isn't completely improbable.
Yeah, but even I'll admit the theory's a bit out there. You being C, on the other hand, seemed plausible, but I ruled you out in the end. Just couldn't find anything concrete. Plus, you don't give off that smell. Wait, sorry. Not that kind of smell.
Don't worry, I know what you meant. Anyway, you were right to rule me out because I'm not C. Although, if I had been, that would have been problematic, considering we've been ordered to hunt him down.
How the hell'd they get in here? You people defy all logic. No, I take it back. They're here because of your power, right?
Correct. We used his invitation to you as an opportunity to tread into his territory, so that we may find and execute him. He who hides behind a coat as well as the name of C, and who dons the role of the Crimson Beast, must be eliminated.
Didn't realize you had it all figured out. And here I thought Shizuna's master was the one with the omniscient eye.
No. My special eyes are quite different from his. Now, kindly withdraw, Arkwright. We will handle things from here. If you leave now, you might even make it in time for the last half of the show.
Sorry, but I'm staying right where I am.
Oh, are you now? Our target is nothing but a bestial affront to the goddess. Strictly speaking, you no longer have any connection to him. I know you're well aware of this fact, and yet, you resist. Why?
Simple, really. From my point of view, this is a 4SPG, and I already accepted it. He might have went about it in a roundabout way, but the fact is, he saved our hides more than a few times. So I've got a reasonable request on my hands, and I've accrued a debt. No self-respecting Spriggan would walk away without paying him back. I get that they're a thorn in your side, but if you want to get to the hunting grounds, you'll have to do it over my dead body.
Well, if that's how you want to play it, then I suppose we have no choice but to pull back.
You guys are unpredictable as ever. By the way, I got a letter from Master the other day, and it reminded me of something. Arteria's elusive captain and wildcard, who took up their post 3 years ago, was a fake who never existed. So if that's not who you are, then what's your other role? What's your real title?
There isn't really a title for what I do, per se. But Her Holiness the Pope and the Gralsritter's commander call me the Eschaton Saint. It would have been nice for us to have worked together, but thanks to your little cheat, we'll have to back off. I'll be heading back to the festival now. Do take care of yourself in there. Goodbye for now, Van.
Everyone who isn't completely confused now, he needed to go into this dungeon alone, if not for the very powerful AI they just rescued. Yes, Lapis is back, and I'll just show you the first part of this.
Hey! Wait a minute! Is that? Looks like a shard-induced dimensional interference, but on a level that shouldn't be possible.
Yes! That's exactly right!
Whoa! Aren't you?
Your name was Van Arkwright, yes? If I were to rate the cuteness of your name, you'd get 57 points!
Hey! What's with the crappy score?
After Lapis made sure Ren knows his name is not very cute, now let's get this show on the road.
It's the lights from the Seven Genesees. So their power was here all along. Or rather, the essence of their power. It's been extracted, allowing the Genesees to act autonomously.
That seems like an apt enough description to me. And look at what's inside of the man in front of us.
Ah, the 8th Genesis. The centerpiece of all that's happened these past 2 months.
So you've come, Van Arkwright, and you brought the other fixers with you, along with a few fresh faces.
Well, you were the one who told me to be in front of Treon Tower at 4:30 p.m. I'm probably a little late, but hey, time's frozen. Nice when technicalities work in your favor.
Yeah, I suppose you get a pass.
The hell? He's talking like a normal-ass person now.
Well, aside from the demonic reverberation anyway.
Yeah,
Though, why do I get the feeling I've heard that voice before?
You're right. It sounds familiar.
Yeah, I hear it too. And when he speaks, I can feel my chest tighten.
Then is he someone you all know? Or is it possible that...
Maybe we know him too. You do know him. But I can't reveal who he is. Since we're in close proximity of the 8th, maybe you can call out to her now, Van.
Good point. There!
What took you so long? You have no sense of urgency. You made me sit there in the background for ages, and then you replaced me? Your name was Lapis, right? While I appreciate your help up to now, I've got everything under control. So why don't you buzz off? Fine. You can have Van back. I was simply repaying what I owed. Now hush. You're interrupting a very important conversation. Whoa. LP just shut her down. She's like her older sibling.
Well, while that certainly is cute, we really should get back to the subject at hand.
Right. I hope you all know how much I appreciate your help. Thanks to you guys, I can finally put this 4-SPG to bed.
Van.
First things first. Let's see if my suspicions are right on the mirror. Can't move forward until we do that, right?
Correct. Just as the smallest units of matter have their own particles and waveforms, my existence is ever in a state of flux. It cannot be validated without first being observed. You must determine my identity without relying on your lauded sense of smell.
Fair enough. As soon as I got your message this morning, I knew for sure that you were C. We're positive that you aren't the first or second C. Testimony from the people who knew him makes that clear as day. Now then, there was something that stuck out to me when I was going over the notes again. The warnings there were stated so plainly, I couldn't get a bead on who could have written them. That's the mark of a real pro, a pro who specializes in multiple fields, writing, among others.
Multiple fields? Wait. Oh, I get it now.
And that's when it hit me. There's only one person I know who has such an annoying attention to detail. When that thought came to mind, I immediately said to myself, there's no way. But after learning the Garden Master's true identity, fighting through hell and back during that coup, and seeing people be recreated by the 8th Genesis, I couldn't entirely dismiss the idea.
A deceased revolutionary, clinging to existence like a parasite.
And the Genesis recreating versions of Jin and Kilika, who were almost like abstractions.
Not bad. However, there is still one small thing you failed to pick up on. If I am who you believe me to be, then tell me, what reason would I have to hide behind the name C? Why would I adopt an ill-conceived alias used by those who operated in the shadows of Crossbell and the Empire?
That's the easy part, actually. There's a reason you chose the name C in particular, outside of needing a convenient smokescreen. And that reason has less to do with the name itself, and more to do with its placement in the alphabet. You picked C because it would conceal your real initials, while also falling right in between them.
I never considered that.
The alphabet? The letters before and after C would be...
B and D. I don't believe the order matters in this particular instance.
Yeah. So, here's our answer. About time you showed your face. Dingo Brad.
You get a passing mark, Van. You not only ascertained my true identity, but also the reason I chose the name C. Now you can bear witness to my true form, a mere shard-based replica, the shadow of my old self. You, on the other hand, are the same as ever. You may be a year older, but time hasn't smoothed your rough edges.
Yeah, whatever.
I feel like I just walked into a retirement home. Still.
I did have my suspicions. But even now, I still can't wrap my head around all this.
The idea of him being the third scene never even crossed my mind. So, he's a shard replica?
Does that mean... No. I thought that may have meant the real Dingo was still with us. But that isn't the case, is it?
No. I'm not of this world anymore. As you already know, my life ended when Cray Village ceased to be. Unlike the immovable and the flying swallow, this form wasn't created based on a pre-existing body. The circumstances surrounding its creation run parallel to what happened to that Basel professor, and are a direct result of what transpired in Cray.
Did you say Basel? Do you mean Professor Callahan?
His memories and personality were converted into an AI by the 5th Genesis.
I've reviewed the footage of the Cray incident countless times over, but even I never once considered the possibility of it sparking a convergence.
Is that... really what happened?
Van...
Aptly put, Mr. Presidential Aide. When the end had arrived, I resigned myself to my fate. But in those last few moments, I felt a pang of regret. Despite how I viewed myself, I knew there were others who cared for my well-being, who would mourn my passing. Had I anticipated Dante's intentions, I could have saved everyone. By not doing more for those people, I committed an egregious sin. That moment of overwhelming shame and self-loathing was the origin point, where my observed existence was absorbed into the network.
That's unbelievable.
Melchior had connected the legacy, which happens to be an observation device, to the orbital network. And that meant your consciousness had been stored in the core of the 8th Genesis. The pieces are slowly coming together.
All in a split second? Wait, no. Time isn't really an issue here, is it?
Right. If Elysium was tasked with completing the convergence, for example, it would have taken it about 10 seconds to do the job. And if it had the power of the 8th Genesis backing it up, it'd take 2 seconds at most, probably even less. The 8th is a special piece of work. After all, it acts as the core of the...
There's that garbled bullshit again. That isn't important right now, though.
Long story short, the 8th is the reason you're here. And while residing within the core, you sent Van a warning about the Revolution Festival. Then sometime after that, you fell into the Garden Master's clutches, who made you into his Crimson Beast.
You've got it. As a result, I killed many gangsters and special ops troops. At first, he had me dancing to his tune, marching in step. But gradually, I was able to wrestle control back from him, and by Nemeth Island, I was free of his influence. Believe you me, playing the part of his silent, subservient pet from then on was no easy task.
Look at you, being all humble.
Yeah, you fooled us pretty good. Ever consider taking up acting as a career?
That explains why you tried to warn us, even through all that.
I guess looks aren't the only thing you've got going for you. No wonder Boss leaned on you so much.
Huh? He did?
Yeah, like we said before, our boss has a bit of a checkered history. He met an informant shortly after entering the Republic 2 years ago. That man became a benefactor of sorts for him.
We never met him in person, but I think they talked over comms. He said he had his eye on you because of how active you were behind the scenes during the war.
I'll admit, I was taken aback when he reached out to me. I prepared some false IDs for him, and we both wreaked a bit of havoc here and there. But that was all part of my job as an informant. I believe benefactor is a bit of a misnomer.
Well, he was grateful to you all the same.
You must be lying out of your ass. Nobody's that cool.
He has an interesting background indeed, and I'm not the least bit surprised to hear it.
Alright, quit stroking his ego, everyone. Though, I ain't shocked to hear that you came back around on your own. Anyway, it's time we cut to the chase, Dingo. Actually, I think it'd be best if I called you what you are. A clone created by the 8th Genesis, the Grendel Zolga.
Yes, that's exactly who I am.
Right. You're not the real Dingo.
Yeah. Like the replicas of Jin and Kilika. I'm nothing but an imposter. A being whose only purpose is to observe, in accordance with the 8th Genesis' design. And that which the 8th Genesis is designed to observe is karma, the one thing in which humanity by its very nature cannot escape.
Karma is humanity's sin. In fact, it's the original sin.
Is he planning to fight us? Is that how he intends to settle this?
But why?
If he's like those Jin and Kilika clones, then there wasn't any other way this was gonna end!
Over those 3 days, you were exposed to an unsavory truth. Humanity is weak. Feed them a story that fits their premise of how things should be. And all ethics, morality, and bonds are readily cast aside, and in turn, there's no line they won't cross. Just look at Dante's, Melchior, and the overseers of the gardens. Or even myself, a foolish man whose actions put Almada on the path to power. Naturally, not all will fall to sin, but the potential for it lies within everyone. That weakness is humanity's original sin, one that the 8th Genesis was built to observe with vigilance. Its ceaseless observation persists. It has yet to truly be brought to an end. That's why I called you here, Van. To bring a decisive end to it.
A beast that devours sin. Huh.
Well, I do appreciate you going into a lot of detail about the request and all. But I don't think any of us are looking to become your next meal. That'd make for a real shit ending if you ask me.
You don't mean...
Yes. The present you now know will soon be reconstructed. All the sins of those 3 days that you erased will come back into being. The forced reset is a byproduct of the Oct Genesis. It is a retry method that can only be performed so many times. Its purpose is to achieve the desired observational outcome. Very soon, the other possibilities that were archived from past resets will be designated as the final observational outcome.
That's bullshit! Why did it have to come to this? No, that's not an outcome we're willing to accept!
Even if you say there's nothing we can do, we're not just gonna stand here and let that happen!
We dispelled those illusions and deceptions, all to attain the present we now reside in. While this may sound conceited, we will not let all our efforts go to waste.
Darn straight, this is one plot twist I'm definitely not on board with. No way, no how.
I'm with you there. And if Ace were here, I'm sure he'd say the same thing.
Yeah! A future without S and LP is a future I don't want to live in. I don't want a future without me either. Don't make me go back to being all red and ugly.
I suppose another coup d'etat would cast a considerable pall over the festival. You may have aided me in the past, but I can't allow you to take this from us.
Don't expect things to play out in the way you're envisioning, because I will not let that outcome come to pass.
I'm not about to let another coup d'etat come about. No matter what, I will prevent it. Miss Misarugi will require your aid.
You got it. For the record, I was planning to help out even without a contract.
We're facing a Genesis that observes sin. And you too, Dingo. I know you're being forced to carry out its function. I'm so sorry. But in order for us to hold on to our present, we have no choice but to fight.
And that is how it should be.
Okay, let's show him what the original Grendel is made of.
You read my mind. About time we got this 4SPG underway. Let's go, Grendel Zolga!
Very well. Then face me, Van Arkride! If you wish to hold firm to your present, then fight!
Okay, where do I even start with this? So first off, Nina Fenley is one of the most well-known actresses of cinema in Zemuria. And also the Septian Church Eschaton Saint. From the explanation I get she would be on the same level inside the church as Ein Selnet. That is crazy. And really shouldn't work out all that well combined with an acting career in my humble opinion. She must have great time management skills. Do I need to get into the Septian Church inner structures for this? I don't even know it all that well. So we have the two congregations, the sacraments, which would be the Gralsritter. They collect artifacts, but then again, Kevin was hunting heretics, Wazi was monitoring stuff in Crossbell. Not to get into too many details, they do a lot of different stuff. The Divine Workshop with Iscariot as an elite force for the Papal Guard aren't on friendly terms with the Gralsritter. Iscariot themselves seem to hunt heretics mainly, but does Grendel Zolga even match that profile? We could also talk about why did Van run off on his own? Again. He never got good results by doing it. He last tried that one day in Act 3 and Celis killed him for it. Is this guy insane? Lapis punching through the reality barrier and rating the cuteness of his name was funny, and the scolding he got after the rest arrived was satisfying. But seriously, he should have learned his lesson ages ago. Okay, so the Red Grendel is Dingo. How he got from nuked Quail Village into the core of Genesis number 8 is still rather dubious, but we had to roll with so much by now it doesn't really matter anymore. I mean, that nuke was an unfinished project that could only be detonated by using a certain sword and hitting it. A sword that only members of a specific family can use. Why had it to be that sword alone? And How convoluted is it that we get a nuke in this game that could be detonated by the same sword just because the two assassin twins, Ix and Jorda, are descendants of the same guy? Oh, and here's another one. The Genesis core was found by a 100-year-old ghost who somehow survived and inhabited a spare body and used Dingo as the red Grendel. Right, so is that form somehow relevant? Does the first Genesis have a blue Grendel with Mare as a messenger and the 8th the red one? All they need is a willing host and the Grendel will happen? Okay, short recap. After we defeated the Garden Master, we had a few weeks of vigilance, so nothing bad would happen like the coup or anything else. And then the school festival happened. The school festival itself was teased again and again, and here we had 16 tickets for 4 mini-games. So better than the last intermission, and there were some bonding events, so that's cool too. After the day's activities, there was a final show to cap off day 1 of the 3-day school festival, and then used that opportunity to sneak out, so nothing much happened in the time gap. Overall, the story of Daybreak 2 might be even worse than the first part. Sure, the time loop thing happens with an internal logic, although why did nothing like that happen in part 1? We had plenty of Genesis there. What did give part 2 a real boost was Nadia, who steals every scene and entertains me very well. Having her vanish in Act 3 didn't elevate that act, I can tell you. Speaking of Act 3, I think the idea was interesting, but the execution and the poor tactical fights made it a bit tedious. How often can you run into a trap, rewind, and have some dialogue repeat itself without thinking, man, that is kind of lazy. Not like it was an especially short act. We had 5 corrosion events before the final fight with Robespierre. You know, the 100-year-old ghost. Thinking of them, Farida's event made the most sense. Young and confused due to the choices she had to make in regards of her family traditions, she seemed like an easy target to influence. Why her brother and Rosette were roped into that as well is less obvious. But I guess it's like a virus that spreads. But then why are others not influenced by it? Mirabelle was immune somehow. We got a more complete story of how that corrosion gets its victims with our 2 Guards with her, Celis and Leon. Also, the whole Iscariot group. Leon was protected by a stigma. Celis wasn't because she isn't as clairvoyant. That's the gist of it. I'm sure the explanation would be more complex. The thing that made far less sense was having Iscariot completely on board the corrosion wagon. And let's not forget, in this part, Nina of all people was active on Van's side. And after what we learned about her and what we know about the corrosion, that should never have been possible. She should have been able to wake her elite force up in no time. A little side note, Iscariot. That's the last name of Judas, you know, the one guy who betrayed Jesus in the end. And I don't think they chose that name by accident. The event that made the least sense and was overall a weak story was the one with Yuma and Maxine. So I guess what happened, the rivalry on the racetrack, was taken as a basis for it. But then again, the corrosion was spread by Yuma, who shouldn't really have that kind of connection to all of that. In the end, a holocopy of Yuma snapped Maxime out of it, and then the holocopy had the Genesis with her. How? Why? I mean, it's clear Mare was impersonating Yuma, and Mare didn't have the Genesis with her. That's clear as daylight. The other thing would be, how does Yuma even know Aslan? Maybe she saw him on TV, where he was described as the big rival of Maxine? But how that formed the idea that Aslan... What is happening here? What do you mean? Tore down the shard barrier, what does that mean? Wait, shard barrier, shard... What does that mean? I don't get it. Wait. I get it. Yes, this is a field battle. Yeah, shards. Shards are the tactical battles when you lay down the shards. I think they explained that one in part 1 because they now call everything shards. Shards this, shards that. I get it. Okay. This is really terrible. They should have warned us beforehand. I didn't get what I had to do, and now some of my characters are really hurt. But Shizuna will get me through this. I'm sure of it. And here we are, back in business. Good thing I have my Anis ready. I can heal this and go on as if nothing happened. Now that was rather unpleasant. Okay, I guess I should compliment them to trying something new, and I guess they did invest some resources in creating these field battles and balancing them for part 2, so they wanted to get something more out of it. But I was just confused. I didn't know what to do, I didn't know what happened, so this was a terrible idea in the end. Well, I should have known that a guy like Dingo has some dirty tricks up his sleeve. I also really wonder what they feed that red Grendel. He is pretty overgrown at this point. So, where was I? Yes, I was talking about the corrosion events in Act 3. Yes, Maxime and Yuma's one was stupid. Moving on. Ashen's little vengeance trip was fine, although Ashen herself wasn't really portrayed as that vicious so far. Then again, she is part of an Eastern-style crime syndicate, so who really knows? Getting Shizuna's #1 henchman from Ikaruga on board was a bit out there though. The all-out coup d'etat was a head-scratcher. So we had Phantasma-style copies of Sin and Kidika, so the corrosion didn't manage to influence the original and made copies? Why wasn't there a copy of Leon then? This is all very strange and the one point where they made copies. The more you think about all those inconsistencies, you just have to assume the rulebook on this was never written. That would have been the first thing they should have done. If they script the whole act around corrosion and rollback, give that a clear set of rules. Of course, with Act 3 being so important and the centerpiece of Daybreak 2 in the end, having this act being weak is quite a problem. Especially the coup d'etat part was not as good as they imagined. We had fight after fight, and as much as it's nice to see all the allies pitching in over the course of the day, taking over battles and giving you the freedom to move on, with the tactical fights being as lame as they are in Daybreak, and I mean all of Daybreak, the whole thing gets dragged down a lot. As already mentioned, we have copies of Sin and Kilika, and that's such an odd decision. And they are exactly like the Phantasma copies in Trails in the Sky the Third. Self-aware of who they are, with all the knowledge and abilities of the original, but unable to overcome their purpose, which is mainly to fight us. It was a very unique mechanic back then, and it made sense, since it was in part running on aureole power. As described, Phantasma is a self-governing world created by the aureole as a subsystem to process the wishes of the people of the Liberal Arc. When the connections to the aureole was gone, it latched onto Kevin's stigma, which was the starting point of the mess. Here, these copies are completely different from what the corrosion is doing normally. I know it sounds like I'm harping on that, but seriously, it didn't make sense. The in-game logic would say this should not happen. This final dungeon was very short, but there was one very out there encounter in the middle that, in my humble opinion, should not have happened. It was so random. The Oathbreaker shows up with the twins Ix and Jorda. He claims he did get in here with the help of Madame Butterfly and Jorda's special powers, and I guess he did it because he was bored. After we fought them, we get a little explanation about the twins. They are now Executor 20, in combination that is. And with that little info, they leave. That felt unnecessary and random, and like they knew they had these cool opponents and didn't really use them enough. So they show up here one last time, since this dungeon is pretty lame and they kind of wanted to spice it up, I guess. Anyone remember the interesting mini-bosses on every floor of the Rui corridor? We can't have something like that here, not in the Endless Garden levels and definitely not here. Why? Heck if I know. Seriously, I wanted to like Daybreak, and the characters are good. But did they hire their writers at the fanfiction convention? Why is the gameplay so bad now? Okay, I wanted to make a video about that, so I won't get into it here. But looking at this fight, it's so obvious. The most problematic part is the stop of the tactical fights, with the field battle intermission. And that's mostly because of the surprise and the time it takes to adjust to it. Oh, come on, again! It wasn't funny the first time this happened, and it's not funny this time. Switching to the other form of controls is not as funny and smooth as they think it is. Maybe with a controller, but I'm playing on the keyboard and this is not in any way or form okay. Okay, I will use Shizuna again, since I think I can relate with her a little better than with the others. I don't think there's any reason behind that.
Boost gauge level maximum. Deploying shards. Let's rumble.
Let's go on, yes.
Boost level maximum strength.
It'll be all right, everyone. Great circle of light. Give unto us the breath of life.
An interesting observation here, we do not get a KO in this field battle. And unlike the real field battle, there seems to be no punishment for doing poorly. I don't know if it's just time-based or if we actually need to do damage, but since I just pressed the heal all button afterwards anyway, thank you Anis, I really can't see how this is even that big of a deal. Aside from that, I would play Y if I wanted to have this kind of gaming experience. Lacrimosa of Dana was one hell of a game, I really need to play Monstrum Nox anyway. I have bought it ages ago and I never started it. Yeah, that's how much I'm into these fights. I'm talking about Falcom's other popular line of games. This fight is definitely not the last one either. Case in point, we don't have the Grendel active on our side. Which begs the question. Is this overgrown Red Grendel not good enough for it? Do Van and Maya know something we don't? Probably read the script.
You won't want to miss this. My blade is both true and false, dancing in the moonlight.
Behold! Zero's gleam!
Boost gauge upgraded.
I certainly don't like this fight at all. Now, what do I even do here? He has still 6 digits in terms of health. I mean, look at this.
Here's a pick-me-up.
There's no real danger here. All my characters are at full health. Got some shields on me.
My turn now.
And then there is the all cancel craft I have with Shizuna that makes sure this guy doesn't have too many advantages against my group.
Way to fire
curious. That wasn't announced as Nescraft, and it might be a very good thing that I stripped off his buffs beforehand. Even with the shields, they did suffer quite a bit of damage. But now we are back to square one. Yeah, now let's find out what he wants to eat now.
Easy does it.
There. Go get him, Nadia.
Some art should really hurt.
I really want to push him more, but I know there will be another fight and I don't want to invest too much CP now.
I'll take you on. I'll give it my all.
What am I supposed to talk about now?
Appreciate that.
Could talk about the story again, but there was no story that really is worth talking about. Even the second part, it's still all set up. I doubt we get a resolution of the Genesis problems and mysteries, so there will be another part for that. Yeah, I'm really not sure what I want to talk about here. I could point out the parallels between the Calvert Revolution and the French Revolution again. And seriously, that could have been an interesting story. This Robespierre character could have been extremely interesting if they would have built him up a little. I can't even remember him being mentioned at any point. Maybe at the beginning when we found that room under Army's Academy? But seriously, I already had forgotten that a few minutes later. You know, if you have a good villain, you need to introduce him. Even if you don't introduce him as the villain he is, but just have him be there. Wiseman was a perfect example of that. He was there in all of the first chapter of Trails in the Sky, reappearing again and again. And we didn't know who this guy was. He was obviously playing some innocent professor at that time. And when he was revealed, it was a shocking surprise. Later on in the second chapter, he clearly was the brain behind the operation of Ouroboros, but he only showed his full impact in the final. Compared to the Garden Master, he shows up at some point, and there is some shock because he just looks like Ace. So now you have a mystery to be solved. His second appearance, he is recruiting Swin and stealing the Genesis. So again, now this guy is a real menace, and still a mystery why he looks like Ace. Just to have the conclusion that he is actually that guy from 100 years ago we don't know anything about, the mystery falls completely flat, and we now have to fight a guy who we don't know or care about. The Red Grendel, Dingo, at least is somebody we know and care about, although his backstory, how he ended up in the core of the 8th Genesis, is still extremely stupid. I think Dingo deserved better than that. Meanwhile, this should be the end of this battle. He is almost at the stun moment. Yes, 99%. I think I can run around him and seal the deal. Very nice. Now let's hope this is enough. Yes, he's almost down. Wait, he's already out of the stun? Oh no, 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 no. He is not getting away this time.
more effective.
Yeah, I guess I just invest a little more. I don't want to see any super area attack
Now we're talking.
in the last minute.
You won't want to miss this. My blade is both true and false, dancing in the moonlight. There! Behold! Zeroth Gleam!
Boost gauge upgraded.
What the?
You reverted?
Damn it! It's like what happened with that demon lord!
Even a shard barrier won't be enough, I fear.
Mare! I'll bear the nightmare!
Right! I'm on the case!
Van! Please, take care of Dingo!
This is the end. Now come at me.
Oh, now we are using our own Grendel. The big red one wasn't a good enough reason. The shrunken down version, on the other hand, totally different story. But damn, this is another fight. We have 500,000 hit points on that guy. Okay, we have the Grendel on our side now, so it should be a little faster. But what do I want to talk about now? It's all been said. The game started promising. We had that Reverie kind of split scenario. One half of your guys were in the main city of Edith, and there they did their stuff. The second line was Van at different locations, and on the different locations he had different allies from his arcade solution pool. That was interesting, and that was very much like they did it in Reverie. That part of the storyline also introduced us to the twins, Jordan and X. So that was interesting, but it didn't tell us all that much. Of course, some important story plot points like Chao doing his own family in Heyu now, or getting that comic relief introduced from Zech Arms. But that's about it. The storyline in Edith with Swin and Nadia introduced the Garden Master at the very end of it. We also learned that Lapis was missing. We then fused everything with the little intermission on that island. And even that felt completely wrong. Sure, they wanted to use the Oathbreaker another time and wanted to introduce these twins. But that and the Garden Master, or Robespierre, that did never feel like it was meant to be the same plot. The story didn't really come together. I guess there is a third part to this, because we need to solve the Genesis problem in the third part once and for all. But was this part really needed for this? Getting the 8th Genesis could have been one act in that game, and we could have moved on from that point onwards. But no, we have a full game to get one more Genesis, have a very irritating villain for that, and Dingo as the Red Grendel. It feels like we are wasting a whole game for nothing. Okay, not for nothing, we have Nadia, and that's always something, but you get what I want to say. The only reason why this isn't as bad as Cold Steel is we have a good protagonist and a good cast of characters. And then we have to deduct points again for the tactical fights that are awful. Oh my god, I'm really running in circles at this point. Leaving aside the low quality of these tactical fights in general, did they really think that the small Grendel was a bigger obstacle than the big one at the beginning? Didn't they do it the wrong way? I mean, look at this guy. It's not even half the size of what we had before. So, why are they selling us this one as the second fight and the stronger opponent? They probably should have switched that. Give us this one first and then making Hulk out to be the bigger version. Because now I'm fighting a smaller opponent who also seems to be weaker. I guess he has a few more hit points? Seriously. And what is he doing now? Oh god, what is he doing now?
What's going on?
The military garrison? Did we just go back 2 months in time?
Okay, we are back in the first fight against the Grendel with only Elaine and Van. Since we only have 2 people and the Grendel should have some area attacks, we might not be able to use our link attacks so freely. Looks like our equip didn't revert back, so that's one good thing. Also a good thing I have equipped every one of my characters out of habit. Guess we get other scenarios too, and we'll switch the characters around a little. As if this didn't go long enough already. Elaine and Wen were teased as love interests, and I really thought that would be the path. But somehow they pushed Anise into it, and now we have a love triangle. I'm not a fan of that. A straight romance like in Trails in the Sky did work out best. Yes, they tried to tease us with a love triangle of sorts with Joshua and Chloe, and then there was Josette, but none of that felt like it would stop the Estelle Joshua train. Here we have Anise, who I really hoped wouldn't turn into a love interest. But then again, at least we don't have a harem building experience where the protagonist could end up with one of around 12 different people. Not even sure if I remembered all of them. Might be even more. This fight is a little more complicated. Maybe I should have put that healing boosting orbment on more characters. Or to be more precise, I should have given it to Elaine. Anyway, this isn't too hard. Just get him to the stun, push with the X-Chain, and you're done. That mechanic is another reason every fight feels the same. Have Van generate hate, hit the target till stun, X-Chain, apply a second time if necessary. In between, heal and shield as needed. That's all the variety we get. At least I can get into the turn order with an S-craft, so I can get a critical hit away from the opponent, but not being able to use arts to manipulate the turn order really made these fights stale.
Use a shard boost to get the upper hand.
There. Don't stop now, Elaine.
Now's a great time for
I guess I can push with Elaine's crafts a little more. I doubt I need her CP bar after this fight. When it comes to Elaine, it doesn't feel like we know too much about her. Even though there was a lot of things said. She comes from a rich family. Then, as an orphan, and her grew up in the same city, and Renee was also there. Then Elaine's father arranged his adoption, and he ended up at the D, therefore G cult for some torture. They reunited later at Aramis Academy, and what are the odds? And then he dropped out, leaving her behind. Years later, he is a Spriggan, while she is a Racer. She brings down her father for his crimes, arranging Van's cult vacation wasn't even one of them. So we know a lot about her, but this picture still feels so very incomplete.
I owe you one.
I really didn't give these two good arts, and you only need arts in the zero arts rounds anyway, since arts are worse than a link attack without any extra boost. Either the smaller ones do no damage or the bigger ones have too much delay.
I'll remember this.
Now's a great time for a shard boost.
Have some more. Chance.
Well, it looks like this fight is under control. We just have to push a few more exchange into him, and after that he is barely standing.
Van, your turn.
I think it was this fight when I realized the fights are all way too easy. It never felt like I was in a problematic position.
Use a shard boost to get the upper hand. Give them your all.
Think fast. Take this.
It looks like we are finally moving on.
Where? Huh? What's Ida doing here? It's the tyrant. We must be experiencing a scenario where we were unable to stop it.
Looks like anything's possible here. But I'm not about to be done in by a couple of imposters.
We're not gonna roll over that easy. I'll put you back in your place as many times as it takes.
These are opponents from the first part, Zombie Ida and the Tyrant. Since every boss fight is more or less the same, this will be as boring as every other boss fight this game throws at us. Our group has changed again, which makes sense. We have the two main people for these opponents, Fairy and Aaron. Van will be here all the time, I guess, and then there's Anise. Yeah, let's get these two down so we can move on. I should have fun with this, but somehow all I want is to be done with it. The acts we had, these two as the final opponents in Daybreak 1, that was the time when I really got into the Daybreak games. Your characters were good, Wen was a real protagonist, not like that failure from Cold Steel, and Anise was a charming sidekick. Fairy was a really cool one too. The icing on the cake was the villain who, after so many wishy-washy villains, Melchior was the pure evil type you love to hate. Aaron may be the weakest character from the inner Arkwright Solution group, and I don't mean his fighting capabilities. His story arc and Solution is a little weaker, which is still way better than 80% of the Cold Steel cast ever had. Still, his act was continuing the atmosphere we got from the Ida one. We have a real villain, we have real villains, brutal and vicious, and they don't fool around. They leave a trail of bodies behind. They could have changed the title, Legends of Heroes, Trails of Almata Victims. That could have been a title. We didn't get that kind of villain since Weissman. While Maria Bell had hints of that in a little more playful way, didn't quite strike me as this insane. They settled for a type that's more misguided than evil for the most part. Come to think of it, they actually did that perfectly with Löwe already in Trails in the Sky. Iron Grim, Arios, even Noel's short-lived betrayal showed that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And in terms of the Trails games, a lot of trauma. Speaking of trauma, the major incidents around the 100 Days War did influence a lot of the characters in Trails in the Sky, and very few came out of it in a positive way. Cassius managed, he left the army and became a bracer. That was his way of coping with the loss of his wife. The real positive example is Estelle. Agatha needed to be set straight by Cassius, but even that wasn't enough. It took young Tita to get Agatha's wounds to heal. Now, if they would have skipped the romance part between these two, I would feel less uncomfortable. Lost relatives also lead Iron and Arios to their plans to prevent future tragedies like this. Nuanced villains, and that works too if done well. Although, it's way more satisfying to stop a villain like Melchior or Weissman. The bad example when it comes to villains is Trails of Cold Steel. Yeah, nothing much worked out in those games. Gilead Osborn was hyped up as the main villain. He was built up from Trails in the Sky onwards. And what did we get? He was absent most of part 1 and 2, seemed to pull the strings in part 3 and 4, but I really never felt his presence, and he converted to tortured hero and anti-villain, and it felt hollow. Giving us Ishmelga shortly before the finish line just doesn't work. They had all the ingredients here, but nothing worked out. As for the other villains in Cold Steel, well, Duke Cayenne and Rufus were pretty good villains, and they got some redemption arc for Rufus of all people. He killed Lien after her duel with Ween by backstabbing her, killed Krianos without a second thought, we get quite a lot of his ruthlessness dictatorship actions in Crossbill, and he was overall getting off easy with a punch to the face from Usus already. And then whether we gave him a redemption arc? Sure. It's also a bit ironic because he killed off the one character that would have earned a redemption arc in my book. More so than Crow or anybody else. I know Crow is pretty popular with the fans, but I didn't like his character at all.
A boost would work here.
I really don't talk too much about the fight and this game anymore, right? Maybe I should just be silent if I don't have anything interesting to say.
No, you don't.
These fights are horrible.
I won't lose.
Show me what you
Here
got.
I go. Jabril Guard.
Get out of here. Bring it on.
Use a sharp straw.
Over here. All for you. You'll be sorry for that.
Wait, that should be impossible. All of my characters have death blow protection. Since I really hate that cheap shot. It had been there from day one of the game, combined with Petrify as the most annoying thing these games have in terms of status effects, and avoiding it is a key to win your fights without a headache. I think I gave Van the Grey Locket. Damn, I think that's 90% instead of 100. What are the odds? Well, the comically overpowered items and cords have been removed since February. That's a good thing. As much fun as it was to prepare and use these items and build up your character with them, I think overall they escalated a little. Okay, a lot. Not sure if I like the new items that still leave a chance for you to get certain status ailments, but then again, we also have some extra resistance available with our Orbment setup. The second line gives defense bonuses, so both things together might work out fine.
A boost would work here.
Going all in. Hit him fast, Barry.
A chance.
Activating skill.
Time for the main event. Vandalize Rain! The start!
Inhibitor unlocked.
Oh, you've gotta be shitting me!
The demonized forms of Melchior and Gerard Dantes.
These are the last faces I wanted to see. But it's okay. We're stronger than we were last time.
Right. Let's send these guys back to Gehenna. For good this time.
Interesting. I think we never did get to fight these two at the same time. Melchior was always extremely annoying to fight. Dantes is rather straightforward.
Activating shield.
Damn those copies. I remember now. This will take forever. Doesn't help that this might be one of the weaker character combinations. Not by much, but it shows. The team I got for this task is a mixed bag. Sure, Reset is good, but Kato is rather weak. Judith is solid. And it looks like I'm missing a lot of CP here. These two are great villains. If that plan to get to Van's Demon Core would have been somewhat coherent, that could have been a great game. Okay, just think of it. The story would have held up till the end, and the gameplay wouldn't be tanking. I do get that many of the reactions with the Genesis was about testing them since they didn't fully know how they worked, and on the other hand they wanted the attention. Getting attention equals having a bigger chance the Demon Core bearer would get involved. I guess that was the thought process here. The death game in Erasion was a good way to blow that precious person up. Would the Demon Core stay behind if that happened? What was the idea here? I'm still puzzled about that.
Got your number.
Here I go!
Some elements look effective.
Going all in.
Have some more!
Deploying shield.
No, you won't!
Deploying shield.
You'll be sorry!
Make it count!
Certain arcs look to be most effective.
There! Catcher, your turn! Gotcha!
Van!
Full boost! Go all out!
May we proceed to
Activating shield!
Take this.
Stop right there!
Now it's my turn.
Now's your chance for a shard boost. Some elements look effective.
Pressure him and move in!
Activating skill.
Target lock.
Chance.
Use activating shield!
Over here. All for you.
Deploying shield.
Now or never!
Make it count!
Going all in.
Certain arcs look to be most effective. Initiating skill.
There!
Our chance!
Initiating skill.
Optical cannon! They're stunned!
Activating shield.
How many of these damn copies does he create? Every single one of them is going to get a turn, take forever to do the equivalent of a stubbed toe, damage-wise, and this video is already way too long.
Stop right there! Got your number.
Deploying shield.
You'll pay for that.
Use a shard boost to get the upper hand.
Keep your guard up.
May we proceed with caution?
Take him out!
Think fast! Take this! Keep it up! Right! It's over! You're crowned! We're done!
Here's my chance.
Now's your chance for a shard boost.
Pressure him and move in!
Reset!
Okay, this is really getting old. How much more of this? And these decoys aren't helping. More little insignificant things that take up time. The idea of getting back in time and fighting the other villains is a good idea on paper, but they make it even more obvious that part 1 had the better villains. And most of them were pretty wasted. I liked how cruel they really were. Melchior in particular was a pure psychopath. The bored guy who was living forever in his artifact armor, well, I can see him getting insane, so that was interesting. Then there was the girl with her puppet, who was in that position without really her fault.
Certain arts look to be most effective. Initiating skill.
You're not getting away! Finish him, Van!
It's go time!
Give him your all!
Brace yourself! Vandalize! Rain! The sun!
Inhibitor unlocked!
I won't lose!
May we proceed with caution?
Initiating skill.
Time to close in!
I've got it!
Locking on.
Fire toe!
We've returned.
That may have been the most irritating field trip I've ever been on.
But we overcame it, and now we're at the final sprint.
Let's wrap this up, you guys. One last battle, and it's all over.
Now go beat the snot out of that guy!
All right, Dingo. It's about time we settled this. Let's pit my Grendel against yours!
Use a shard boost to get the
Yeah, we are back, and we are back at full life with this red Grendel, and you know what? I'm done. I'm completely done. You know what we do here? We cut this fight out of the video. I don't think I have to make it more clear. The fights are so easy, I could leave my Freeman plushie at the keyboard and she would do it.
Certain arts are more effective.
I'll exploit that! You're finished!
I will devour. You're in this dark. Yeah, I don't think so.
Wow. He actually did it. Nice going.
Looks like you're you again, you damn lady killer.
Yeah. And I have you all to thank for that.
Van and Dingo! Oh, thank Arusha!
Yes. I was a little worried there for a moment. Does that mean...
Probably. The Genesees have most likely regained their luster.
You're right. It looks like they have their power back. But that means...
I feared as such.
Oh, come on. Why the long face? I'm just going back where I belong. This is a time for celebration, not tears. I mean, you finally completed the little lady's request.
Well, half of it anyway. Which is kinda crazy to admit. Given all the stuff we've been through together. Would have liked having you along for the ride. You'd have been a big help.
No. I'm sure you guys can get along just fine without me. You made it this far on your own, right? You know, when I first met you, you reminded me of myself back when I was still wet behind the ears. But somewhere along the way, people started relying on you more and more, and it looks like you learned how to rely on them in return. Thanks for taking on my 4SPG. You really did me a solid there, Van.
Think nothing of it. I already owed you for all you've done for me. A guy's gotta pay his debts when he gets the chance, right? Wish you'd give me a little more time to pay back everything I owe. Maybe I can pass along a message for you? To Marielle, I mean.
Not being able to talk with her before the end is my one regret. I'm proud of her, even if she stumbles or spins her wheels along the way. She's finally standing on her own 2 feet. I only wish we could have talked one last.
Dingo? Is that you?
What? Marielle?
What is she doing here?
Hey! When'd you run off, LP?
You left to find her on your own?
Not exactly. I was asked to bring her here. A certain someone reached out to me since that glasses guy's tracker doesn't work here.
It can't be.
Oh, but it can, Renee Kincaid. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance at last. You'll have to excuse me for keeping my face concealed. Swin, Nadia, it's been some time since we last crossed paths. You both look well.
Well, I'll be. That's some trick you pulled, boss.
So you're still alive and kicking, huh? Course, I wasn't worried about you in the slightest.
Wait a sec. Don't tell me you're...
Wasn't he officially declared dead after that disaster in Crossbell?
That he was. I had not realized I would be unable to track him when I set foot in this place.
Your name was Van Arkwright, yes? You have my thanks for looking after those 3 in my stead. I wanted to express my gratitude in some way, so I had Lapis fill me in on all that's transpired.
So, this is a dream, right? A man wearing sunglasses called out to me, and when he put his phone to my ear, I heard Dingo's voice.
Then I rushed over to the tower, and...
As a token of my appreciation for all Dingo's done for me, I arranged to have her brought here. I am relieved we made it in time.
Can't believe it.
That's awfully considerate of you. Thanks.
Dingo? Oh, Dingo! Dingo! It's you! It's really you!
And after I just got done telling everyone how independent you've become, now I'm starting to get worried.
You should be worried! I'm a complete mess without you, Dingo!
Oh, I can't agree there. If your coverage of the coup is anything to go by, you're doing great. And if you've been listening, you know what's about to happen, right? I've already passed on. So, this one fleeting moment we have together will be our last. Thank you, everyone. Now, I can leave this world without any regrets.
I was simply returning a favor. That is all.
Me too. Don't think I didn't notice the point where you started looking out for me. You were the one who loosened the leash that Masked Jerk had on me. It's thanks to you that I became myself again.
Guess we owe you thanks too.
Yup. You're an awesome guy, Dingo.
And Van, I will always, always be grateful to you and your friends for what you did here. There's one last thing I need to tell you, Agnes, about your great-grandfather's diaries.
Huh?
What about them?
I was able to learn something while serving as the 8th Genesis's vessel. It's not much, but it's still worth sharing. This was an isolated incident. You haven't averted the end he foretold in his final entry. Don't worry, though. I know. You'll find a way. This is goodbye, Marielle and Van. Oh, and be sure to give Bermati and all my other acquaintances my regards.
Yeah. You got it.
Hey, Dingo. I promise I'll do my very best. So don't worry. I'll be fine.
So long, Dingo.
After that, we returned to the irreplaceable present that we worked so hard to protect. And though we felt sorry for Marielle, she smiled as she pushed us on, and we all left Trion Mall together. Somehow, against all odds, we made it back to the school festival in time for the end of the performance.
So this is the end of the game. There will be more epilogue, but I really can't make this video any longer, and I don't think anybody wants that. I will have one final video about this when I talk about the tactical fights, what they changed and why that wasn't working out. Till then, bye bye.